everyone. This is Tom Moore from VikeFans.com, and today we're fortunate to welcome back former Minnesota Vikings quarterback Tommy Kramer, who's going to help us talk a little bit about the 2014 Viking offense. Tommy, thanks for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome, Tom.
Well, you ready to talk a little bit about the Vikings' new quarterback and what he might be facing, and maybe a little bit about the Minnesota offense?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready for it. And anytime a rookie takes over, he's like watching the game in fast speed on a tape. That's how it is in your mind when you first get in there. It's very tough.
No doubt. Well, obviously the Teddy Bridgewater era officially began when Matt Castle broke his foot in New Orleans last week, and then Bridgewater came in to replace him for the balance of the game. And Tommy, you were there live in New Orleans for the game. What were your impressions of Teddy's performance against the Saints?
Well, yeah, I think that without the running game that they would normally have, it was a little bit tougher. But to me, when you have someone like Adrian Peterson in there, you can do a lot of play-action passes, naked bootlegs and things like that, because Peterson's going to get that much respect.
Right. When you look at it, though, obviously, he's now facing several games, maybe the entire season without Adrian Peterson. What do you do for a rookie quarterback like that when he goes forward with a limited running game right now? How do you protect him? What do you do in the game plan?
Well, you're going to have to throw short, quick passes, quick slants, pitches, take shots deep. I mean, not only does he not have his best running back, but I think didn't they lose a right guard too?
They did. They sure did.
Yeah. And then they also lose, Randolph?
Yeah, they lost Kyle Rudolph at the tight end position as well.
Yeah, so, I mean, those are things that you have to try to cover up, and it's not easy to do in the National Football League.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because on Sunday, he looked pretty poised out there for the time that he was in there. What are the good things you saw him doing on the field, and were there any things that we need to be cautious about, that maybe he takes too many risks or something like that?
No, I think from what I saw of that portion of the game that he played is that, he has very good pocket presence. He has good feet in the pocket, so he can avoid some tacklers, and he can run he runs well too. But he's just not one of these guys that came from the spread offense. He's not looking to run; he's looking to pass first. But then especially if you get man coverage and you see a hole that's opened up after you've been there at least 3 seconds, you got to take that and go with it, because those defenders are looking at the receivers.
I mean, I'm curious about that. You mentioned pocket presence. You kind of mentioned 3 seconds there as far as, when you got to kind of bolt. But at what point during a play does a quarterback, sitting in the pocket, know, hey, it's either time to run and get out of here, or I got to throw the ball away?
Well, I mean, you kind of have a clock in your head.
Yeah.
But, depending on the route that you're running, I mean, granted, when you're running keeper routes, a lot of times you're keeping more people in to help with the blocking. Mm-hmm. But when you see that blitz coming, you better have a hot route on every one of them.
Well, I noticed he does this, and you did this in your career, to where no matter, even when you were starting to scramble out of the pocket by a few seconds, you're always looking downfield. How do you keep that concentration and not worry about some big guy hitting you?
Well, that's just the feeling you have as a quarterback. You never look at the defenders coming in. You're looking at everything downfield, but what you do is you feel it when you're in the pocket. And that's when you make decisions to either slide or, move up in the pocket a couple steps, knowing that you've got a guy that's going to be breaking open, and you just got to buy a little bit of time if that tackle gets beat on the outside. So you slide up, so it makes it tougher for that defensive end to catch you.
A little easier now. I don't think they had the slide rule when you were playing, did they?
No, we're always trying to slide up, because the defensive ends are coming around those tackles, and you got to move up a little bit, or you're going to catch your helmet right in the middle of the back. Of course, now that'd be a penalty nowadays.
Absolutely. Well, Tommy, you had the same experience that Teddy Bridgewater had when you were a rookie, and you had to come off the bench cold. It was a game against Cincinnati in 1977, and Fran Tarkenton broke his leg, and I know you came in that day and you threw a touchdown pass, and you had a better than 130 quarterback rating that day. What do you remember about that experience, and what was the secret of your success that day?
Well, I was just, I prepared myself all week to play just in case something did happen. And I'll tell you what, it was the first play that I went in there and I handed the ball off to Chuck Foreman. Man, I saw these defenders diving at his knees and his shins. I said, whoa, man. I said, that guy's going to have a broken leg here very quickly. And, so it's a matter of attrition.
When you go in like that, is there time to get butterflies? Or is it just basically more of an instinct? You've done it all your life and it just falls into place?
No, I didn't ever get butterflies when I played. And I got excited to play. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't to the point I was throwing up or getting nervous or anything else. I mean, I'd go over to the sideline after the pregame warm-ups. And right before the game started, I'd gargle with Gatorade. And then I just shake my head and flow. And then now I knew I was between the lines. And my focus was going to be that much stronger. I'm blocking out the crowd noise. I'm blocking out everything else.
Yeah. Well, I've actually heard sometimes, and maybe this is true, maybe it's not, maybe you can clarify for us, sometimes it's easier for an inexperienced or rookie quarterback to come in off the bench as opposed to being named the pregame starter. Is it true? And if so, why is it easier to perform at a high level coming off the bench in that situation?
Because you have no time to think. All you have to do is react. And if you have, a good mind for the game, then all you're going to do is react because, you've done it before at all the other levels to get to this league.
Well, obviously you've got this situation this weekend. The Vikings go back home to play the Falcons at TCF Bank Stadium, and that Falcon defense, as you said, they've had a full week to game plan for Bridgewater. What are the types of things you would expect offensive coordinator Norv Turner to do with Bridgewater to protect him, but still not go into that ultra-conservative mode?
Well, I almost think starting out that you have to stay in that ultra-conservative mode until he's starting to get the feel of the game. And then now it's, all right, well, let's work on what we've been working on the whole year. Mm-hmm. Let's see how he reacts. Get him out there on bootlegs, run some screens, run some draws, take deep shots. I mean, of course, without Peterson in the backfield, they're not going to put 8 people in the box. But you have crossing routes, pick routes, not supposed to be fixed, but they are. You try to get him in a rhythm early so that he feels good about it, and then you unleash it.
Okay, so you take your deep shot later on.
Well, I mean, you can take a deep shot early because that way you let them know, hey, we're not afraid to let this guy drop back there and throw it.
When you look at quarterbacks in general and through your experience, what are the biggest mistakes that a quarterback transitioning from college to the NFL can make, in his first few starts? Is it misreading a coverage or handling the blitz or something else?
No, I'm telling you, for those guys, number one, you're trying to learn your offense first. Number two, you're trying to learn the different coverages that these defenses are giving you. And then, on top of that, then you have to be worried about where these blitzes coming from. And for a quarterback, you better make sure you know where that blitz is coming from, and you have a hot receiver to that side or the other side away from it.
Okay, so when they look for the hot receiver, Tommy, that means if I see somebody coming from the right, it's one guy, but if I see somebody coming from the left, it's another guy who's my hot receiver, correct?
Well, but you're only going to be able not to protect one of them or not block one because he's going to have a free run to you. But as long as you know which one's that hot receiver, then you'll be able to get rid of the ball, nice little short, quick rhythm pass, and that's what keeps them from blitzing it. When you convert against those blitzes.
Norv Turner he's known as a creative offensive genius, but the Viking offense really in all 3 games, even the opening day win that they had, they've been relatively bland and predictable so far this season. What things do you think he needs to do to open things up, even though he's got a rookie quarterback?
Well, I mean, one thing about Norv is he has always liked a good running game. If you can have a good running game in this league and be able to play defense at the same time, your chances of winning are pretty good. But if you don't have a defense that can stop them, then that's when you have to, they're going to see, can we play conservatively and try to keep the ball away from them, ground out the clock, But, I mean, there's guys on the other side of the line of scrimmage trying to stop you. So, I mean, you have to pick and choose. I mean, I'm not there to break down film and to see what all the other teams are doing to Atlanta, and how they are having success again. I mean, I think Atlanta clobbered somebody pretty good last week, didn't they?
Oh, they did. They beat Tampa something terrible.
Yeah. I mean, that was an ugly football game for the Bucs. Seemed like whatever mistake they that they could make, they did.
On the offensive side, you've had the chance to break in some inexperienced receivers in your playing career, but what needs to happen for second-year receiver Cordero Patterson to be a regular threat in the offense, and what do we need to do to make Greg Jennings the big play receiver we expected when we signed him to that lucrative free agent contract?
Greg Jennings is a very good possession receiver, right? And his job is to go over that middle, and he's not necessarily your deep threat. Cordell Patterson is going to be your deep threat. And now with, the guy just got suspended.
Jerome Simpson?
Jerome Simpson, yeah. Him getting, not playing now, and Jerry's right. The thing about it is, to me, it looked like Castle and Jennings were always on the same page, except that the one pass the game before, when it called for a corner pattern, and the guy's on the outside of him, and Castle just threw it up in the air thinking that, Jennings would make the catch. But that's the confidence you have to have in receivers. I know when I was playing with the shot, and during the summer, I said, okay, here's the things I want, because I know you're going to get double teamed. I said, so whatever, like if we have a post route on and you've got double team, say on the left side, I want you to cut that back to the corner and run the corner. And I'll just throw it into the open space and you go get it. And then with Rashad, I said, if you're getting double and we're running in route, I want you to run exactly at the outside shoulder of that one guy that's dumping from the outside, even though I've got a in route coming in, a big route. As soon as you hit that yardage at 15 or 20, I'll put the ball right in your numbers. But you just turn around. There's a lot of ways to beat double coverage. And it helps if you have a lot of good receivers to do it.
Well, no doubt. And obviously, Bridgewater hasn't had a lot of playing time with either Patterson or Jennings. And, how long does that take, Tommy? I mean, you talked about working with Rashad in the summertime. How long before you start to trust those receivers to where I'm going to put it in the spot and they're going to go get that ball?
Well, it starts with the running the routes just against the air with no defense. To me, if you're going to play quarterback in this league, the biggest thing you're going to have is anticipation and accuracy. If you don't have those two, it's tough to play quarterback in this league. And so if you can do that, then when I go to the line of scrimmage, I'd look at both sides, and as I was doing it, I'd see, okay, so I've got a 10-yard out coming on this play. So I kind of glanced to one side and looked at the other, knowing that both of them are going to be in, and I have an idea where I'm going to hit that last step without even looking and turn and throw the ball. But that's the trust I had in those receivers to make sure that they got that they made that play 10 yards down the field.
And I'm assuming, in the NFL, when you played and today as well, you really can't wait for a receiver to come wide open. You kind of have to trust the spot where that ball's supposed to be, don't you?
Oh, yeah. You got to throw it long before they get there.
Otherwise, your defender's got time to react, I assume.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you're late on an out ball, 10 or 12-yard out, if you're late on it, it's going the other way. Even if you just throw it to the inside of where it is, and not put it in his breadbasket, that ball's going the other way for 6.
It's a fine line between a great play and an interception, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. That's, and it's maybe only a foot or 2 feet to where the ball is thrown.
The rest of the season is Teddy Bridgewater's. I mean, he's your quarterback of the future. But if he's ineffective for periods of time, and obviously Matt Castle got put on injured reserve today, so he's not coming back for the season. So your backup now becomes former first-round pick Christian Ponder. Can you envision, Tommy, any scenario other than an injury to Bridgewater where you believe Ponder should be in instead of Bridgewater this season?
Well, number one, they're all playing for a first-year coach. Ponder had gone through 2 different coordinators during his time when he was in the 3 years. And so, right now they're on equal ground. Ponder has more experience. But I don't think they're going to take Bridgewater out to give Ponder a chance. Here you got drafted guy, number 1, and the other guy that had his chance at number 1. To me, we're going to roll with this guy.
And if you're the offensive coordinator, you've seen Ponder. If something does happen to Bridgewater where you have to put Ponder in, since he's had starting experience but limited success, do you feel comfortable, I've got a good plan B if I need to go to it?
You don't have another choice.
Yeah.
Like watching Lieutenant Joe Kinder. If you kill somebody, I'll find you.
Yeah. Well, the last question I wanted to ask you is, and we mentioned it before, the Vikings are going back this weekend to play their second game at TCF Bank Stadium. But at some point, that calendar is going to move to late November and early December. And if we're lucky, they'll be playing out there in January as well. So as they prepare for the cold weather, you played in it at the Met. How do you prepare for that type of weather?
Just wear a little bit more clothing. See, Bud never let us have hand warmers. He's always thought that was an advantage. And then the other guys on the other side of the old Met Stadium, right down the 50 from us, we're on the same sideline. And, those guys are sitting in there shivering and, it's a big difference once you've been up here and been in it and go out and practiced in it. And, but then once the adrenaline takes over, then you don't worry about it.
Especially if you're playing in the playoffs for that extra paycheck, right?
Oh, that's right. Well.
Well, Tommy, we appreciate you putting on your offensive hat for a little while tonight to help the fans know what to look for this weekend. And we hope you'll come back again and share your insights with the fans about quarterbacking in the Minnesota Vikings passing game.
Well, I'd love to. Just give me a call.
Sounds good. Well, thanks again, Tommy, for joining us tonight on VikeFans.com.
You're welcome, Tom. Thank you.
Take care. You want me to give him your number? I want to see if you can play still,
Well, I talked to Zim when I was down on the field in New Orleans, and he asked me, "Hey, you got any years left in you?" I said, "Nope, not even one."